Hi, this is Reverend Ken. Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to like and share our video and comment on the video. It will mean a great deal to us. It will help spread our message out to a wider audience. So again, be sure to like us, to make a comment about us, or to share it with all your friends. It will do a great deal of good. Thank you so much. Let's begin our service with the opening reading. Today I'm reading from Dr. Ernest Holmes. And he wrote, "We use the creative power of the universe every time we think." So let's put these words of wisdom to work in our lives, and we do that through affirmative prayer. I'm going to say this prayer in the first person, but take it in for yourself. If I say something that works for you, hold tight to that. If I say something that doesn't work for you, just let that part slide by. But just know this truth with me today. There is but one God, one mind, one power, and that power is perfect love. It's divine intelligence. The power is flowing through me, with me, and for me. I am in that power. And here today, I choose to know something better for myself, that I have come to life to experience all the goodness God had in mind when it called me by name from stardust. So here today, I know there's an easy and wonderful way for me to have all the love, health, and prosperity that I seek in my life. Here today, I lift my eyes to a better knowing for myself, and Spirit provides me wonderful possibilities to live the dream of my life. This is my truth. I celebrate this right knowing, and I release this prayer into the mind of God to do its good and perfect, bold and dynamic work, returning to me multiplied abundantly. And together we say, and so it is. My talk title today is Spiritual Broadcasting. Dr. Holmes, the founder of our wonderful teaching, he said that we're all spiritual and mental broadcasting stations. He said also that we have a spiritual atmosphere, a zone of energy around us. Some people would call those auras, and some people have the ability to see them. These auras or fields of energies, they expand or shrink or change colors depending on our mood and our health. Now, don't have that ability myself, but I certainly can feel a person's energy, if they are in a good energy or a bad energy. And I can feel it when it comes in the room, when I meet people. And of course, there are many people who have such large energies that they can create a whole environment for themselves. I've known people who could single-handedly make a party wonderful just for being there. My sister was one of those people. I've seen her for hours on end entertain a whole house full of people, getting them to laugh so hard that they had a hard time catching their breath. I've also known people who could single-handedly destroy a party. I had friends one time, and they invited a friend of mine to one of their parties. They were very well known for giving these really elaborate parties where they spent a lot of money, and they were very good, a lot of fun. They invited the right people. She was a wealthy woman. She lived in Buckhead in Atlanta, and she drove her own Bentley. And they invited her because they were hoping to get into business with her. And she got to the party, and instead of making it a fun party, she single-handedly ruined the party because she wanted and demanded all the attention of the gathering to be placed on her. It was so awful that people were practically jumping out of the windows to get away from it. Now, I had another friend who was an actor, and he said that our ability to control circumstances and control environments, that it had a huge impact on an audience. He had played in both comedies and in tragedies. And he said that if one person in an audience for a comedy had made the decision that they weren't going to laugh, then it didn't matter what the actors were going to do. You couldn't get the audience laughing. Now, he had another interesting observation. He said the same was not true with tragedies. He said regardless of what the environment was for a tragedy, he said if you said enough sad lyrics or sad songs, you could get an audience to cry. I don't know really what that means about us as humans. Now, there are people who are energy vampires who can just really suck the positive energy from you. There's a TV program on one of the channels that I really like right now. It's called What We Do in the Shadows. It's a comedy about a group of vampires who live in a group house. And of course, they have the same problems everybody has living in a group house. One of the vampires is not your traditional vampire. He's an energy vampire. And how does he drain energy from people? Well, he goes on social media and Facebook and he picks arguments and he gets people very angry, and that's how he gets the energy from them. I've known other people who were energy vampires. Not that they lived in coffins, but they could literally suck the positive energy from you. One of the things that you can alert yourself to is they are typically people hard to get away from. They always want to tell another story to you. And they don't generally have conversations. They're really not interested in what you're experiencing. They just want to tell you another of their sad stories. There was a minister that I used to have to deal with when I first came to St. Augustine, and she was such a person. I remember going out to lunch with her and being so desperate to get away, I was contemplating spilling a cup of hot coffee in my lap just to have an excuse. I was willing to have third-degree burns just to be able to get away. I also noticed with her that if you tried to make the suggestion that they go on to something positive or they move on from their history, that they were offended by it. I also know that if you don't give them your energy, if you refuse to stay focused on their tell of woe, that they will soon move on to someone who is willing to let them sing their sad song. And as I say, there's always some country bar somewhere where they're playing Cry in Your Beer music. Dr. Holmes, he said that we have this force flowing through us. It goes out in every direction. We're either drawing things to us or we're repelling things from us. Our teaching is about learning how to consciously control those forces so that we're drawing things to us that we want to have in our lives, and we're repelling those things that we don't need to experience. I've known people who are forever attracting one good thing to themselves after another. I had a friend who went through the last economic downturn. His business that had been doing very well for a long time suddenly just hit the skids. And so in the middle of an economic downturn, he needed to figure out a way to get another source of income. He decided that he would open his business up for wedding flowers. He knew that there was a convention of wedding planners, and so he thought a good way to introduce himself was to get a booth at this convention. The morning the convention was to start, he pulled up, and behind him he noticed a large Cadillac pulling up, and an elderly lady and her husband were seeking to try to get supplies out of the Cadillac, and they were having difficulty doing it. So he offered to help. Just after a few minutes of helping them get the things they needed on the trolley, the lady turned to him and she said, "You've been so helpful to me. Can I have your business card?" Of course, he was able to supply one to her. After he got his booth set up, he started to realize that there seemed to be a stream of people coming to his booth one after another, looking for his material to engage him in business. He later found out that the woman who he had helped was the president of the convention, and she was sending all her friends to him to get business from him. He was later to go on to have a huge career in wedding flowers, and he actually did the weddings for a daughter for one of the founders of Home Depot. So he was able to make a lot of money for himself. I've had other friends or known other people who were miraculous about bringing in one disaster after another to their lives. And they enjoyed them. They were willing to share them in detail with you, every gruesome detail. They would get the x-rays out and give you all what the doctor was saying. I had a cousin, and she loved getting surgeries. She probably had 15 to 20 surgeries in her life. When carpal tunnel came along, she was so excited because she could get 2 surgeries for one ailment. And she would always say the same thing after every surgery. When you would go to visit her, she would always say, the doctor said it was the worst case he had ever seen. Finally, my mom had heard enough of it, and she said, well, you don't think he's going to come in your room and tell you that it was a waste of time now, do you? When we focus on our negativity and broadcast our negativity, we will get more of it. We are spiritual broadcasting centers, just like a radio station, Dr. Holmes says. When you go to a radio station, you talk into a mic, and that technology, it translates your voice to radio waves, and those radio waves will go as far as that signal has energy to send them. Now, the waves have no choice within themselves. If you're playing country music, it's not going to end up at on your radio receiver as classical. The waves have no choice of themselves. They will broadcast happy music as well as they'll broadcast sad music. And the receivers have to be tuned to the right vibration. If you tune into a country music, you can't get mad if you want to hear jazz music. You have to be the one willing to change the vibration to tune in to the right vibration. And of course, there are people who love nothing more than to broadcast negative news. They relish in it. And in our culture, people love hearing negative news. If you have a person who has nothing good to say about life and about the situation we find ourselves in, they're welcome in any social situation. And in fact, they're considered a realist. They're considered smart. A person who always has positive news, they have their head in a cloud. So the more you listen and broadcast positive and loving news and energies, the more you will find and the more you will be able to broadcast. The more you broadcast and look for negative energies and news, the more you will find. Either way, they will become the law of your life. And this is how you will live your life. You can't expect to have a happy life if you're always listening to sad news. Dr. Holmes says this is the reaction of the law of good from a power greater than we are. And that power created us out of itself, plus nothing else. You are 100% God stuff in the physical plane. There's nothing else for you to be. You're not all of God, but all that you are is God. And you're here to experience. You're here to be awed by how much God loves and supports you. And when we proclaim this goodness for ourselves, we empower ourselves. We are the best idea God had for the world at the moment of our creation. And God has never created anything that didn't contain all the potential for good. So here's our formula. Here's how we can become broadcasting centers for Spirit's goodness, Spirit's encouragement, and Spirit's support. First of all, know for yourself that you deserve the goodness of life. All of it, not a little bit, but all of it. And that you're here to experience it by means of you. And then create a vision for yourself of what that looks like for you. And don't just have one thing, have many things. Have large things and have small things for yourself, for your family, for your friends, and the world. And then use the creative law of the universe by means of affirmative prayer to make that happen. Have a vision of what you would like to see. Speak about it through your mental voice to the point where you can see it. And make sure that you can see yourself in that vision. And then do that long enough so you get an emotional response where you feel a wave of energy flowing in your body. When you've done that, you've created a thing alive with the power of God. And when you send it out into the universe, its law, its principle, it will return to you. My friends, we have the power to make the world a better place. What is a song that they used to sing in the 60s? Give your fellow man a helping hand. Put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place. That's what we've come to do. We've come to make the world a better place by means of me, by means of you, through our goodness, through our kindness, through our compassion, by our willingness to know for ourselves that we are loved by God, that we are here to experience God's goodness in the physical plane. That's what we've come to life to do. God isn't disappointed by you. God is awed by you, by your willingness to go love after your heart's been broken, by your willingness to try after you've had failure. So don't just be dismayed by the turmoil and trouble of the world. These things are but shadows of the truth. You are here to know the goodness and strength of God within your heart and soul. And now's the time. You have the power. You have the strength. God believes in you. God knows for you. So get out in the world and make the world a better place by your having been in it. This is your path. This is your life. It's the truth, and you're up to the task. It's the truth in your life today. It's the truth in mine, and so it is.
I might be halfway through this valley, and my eyes just can't see a quick way out. It might seem life's got it out for me, like I'm in way too deep, but I have found every single circumstance I can place in greater hands. I won't let my trouble break me down. I've got joy down in my soul. I'm gonna take it everywhere I go. Not gonna worry about what I don't know. Be alright as long as I've got joy here in my heart, feeling like a torch lighting out the dark. In the jet black night I'm gonna see the stars. I'll be alright as long as I've got joy. So I'll just cast my cares. I won't find answers there. I won't sink into despair, into doubt. Every single circumstance I can place in greater hands. I won't let my trouble break me down. I've got joy down in my soul. I'm gonna take it everywhere I go. Not gonna worry about what I don't know. Be alright as long as I've got joy here in my heart, waving like a torch lighting up the dark. In the jet black night I'm gonna see the stars. I'll be alright as long as I've got joy. Joy, joy. Gonna keep my strength, keep my truth. Gonna light the way, see me through. Gonna keep my hope, keep my shield. Gonna lift me up no matter how I feel. Gonna keep my strength, keep my truth. Gonna keep my way, see me through. Gonna keep my hope, keep my shield. Gonna lift me up, 'cause I've got joy down in my heart, living like a torch lighting up the dark. In the jet black night I'm gonna see the stars. Be alright as long as I've got joy down in my soul. I'm gonna take it everywhere I go. Not gonna worry about what I don't know. I'll be alright as long as I've got joy. Joy, joy. I'll be alright as long as I've got joy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So let's close our service with an affirmative prayer. And just know this truth with me today. There's but one God, one mind, and one power. And that power is perfect love, is divine intelligence. And that power is broadcasting through me, with me, and for me. So here today, I get out of my own way. Here today, I choose to see myself as God sees me. Here today, I choose to open up my possibilities for my greater good, knowing that God seeks to show up in my life as my health, my love, and my prosperity. Here today, I choose to lift my eyes up to a greater knowing for myself. This is my truth. I celebrate this right knowing, and I release this prayer into the mind of God to do its good and perfect, bold and dynamic work, returning to me multiplied abundantly. And together we say, and so it is. All right, my dear friends, know this final truth with me. Your life is not a problem to be solved. It's a miracle unfolding. Your job today is to go name your miracle, to proclaim your miracle, and to make it your own. God bless us all. Now let us go be the miracle God has called us to be. This is Reverend Ken. Until we see each other again, many blessings.